Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate. Choppers a throwaway. Hustle the overweight. That's why they follow me, huh? They think I know the way. Cause I took control of things. Ballin' the solo way. And if you
Welcome to the Mono Mentality Podcast. I'm your host, Mariachi. Today we have a special guest. Excited to talk to this guy. Some accomplishments on this guest speaker that's coming on. One of the biggest things he's been most proud of is moving out of his hometown, Sunnyside.
Correct.
Buying his dream car at the age of
24.
Buying his dad a top-notch instrument, being one of the top closers at Centria, and then most importantly, making sure he can support his parents financially. Welcome to the show, Osman Lasia.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Osman, introduce us. Who is Osman?
So, my name's Osman. I was born and raised in Sunnyside, Lower Valley, lived my whole life there. Come from a musician background, so music's in my blood, right? I was a musician, Mariachi, for about 9 years with my dad. And so parents came from the field workers came from Mexico.
What part of Mexico?
Jalisco.
Jalisco.
Yep.
Okay. So were they born and raised in Jalisco?
Yeah.
And then when did they migrate here to Washington?
I'd say might be a couple years off, but I think about 30 years ago.
30 years. Okay. And then mariachi. How did the mariachi roots come about? Was that something they did back in Mexico or?
Yeah, my dad's dad, my grandpa,
Okay.
he was a musician. All my uncles, grandparents are musicians, so it came just from the lifeline, the bloodline, and it's just like we all just expanded from there. We have almost know every instrument in the mariachi band.
What age did you get introduced to mariachi? Was that at a young age? Like what year?
Honestly, yeah, my dad would have me practicing since I was like 5 years old. We have little videos of me playing guitar, him playing trumpet. It was honestly, playing music was just kind of ingrained in me. At the end of the day, I hated it as a kid, if I'm being honest. It wasn't the funnest thing, right? Getting out of school, having to go home and practice 2 or 3 hours on a trumpet or whatever, but it paid off at the end because it allowed me to not only learn a source of income at a young age, but also learn a skill that I can take anywhere in the world realistically.
So 5-year-olds doing mariachi.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get paid for it, or was it something that your parents just told you like, hey, we got to go do this?
So, no, I didn't get paid until I was 14. I was when I officially joined the mariachi as an actual musician member. And that's when I started getting paid.
Was the mindset always income doing it, or is it just a passion for the family?
It was more a passion. It wasn't really the income. I mean, when I was a kid, imagine 14 years old making $30 an hour, you know, for 5-6 hours a week. It was cool for me,
Yeah.
because I loved music at that time. So it wasn't really for the money. It was more of a passion.
When you got into the mariachi side, because I want to talk about music for a second. When you first got into that realm of the business, crowds, how many people were you guys performing in front of?
So right before I joined, they were performing for like artists, like, Jenny Rivera, when she was here, they performed with her, Maribel Guardia, a bunch of Hispanic artists. And then, but typically weddings, ceremonies, events, anywhere from 50 to 200 people.
And then what was your biggest crowd that you ever performed
Biggest crowd?
in front of?
I personally didn't get to play with any artist, but we did play with a lot of well-known people here in like Washington State. I would say probably like 300 people.
300 people?
Yeah, 300, 400 people.
So your parents, they come from Jalisco. What got them to move out here to the Lower Valley, Sunnyside?
I think was just looking for a better life. My dad actually had moved to California. So he went to California.
What part?
I believe it was like Sacramento area.
Okay.
He played music there and then migrated down here. I think it was more for like the opportunity for work, like in the fields here. And that's what they moved down here for.
For people who are listening to this field work, typically how much are you getting paid?
Dude, it's pennies.
Okay.
Pennies. They either pay you hourly or they pay you per like bucket that you do of fruits.
So like an ideal, like growing up as a kid, seeing your parents work on the fields, what was their weekly paychecks?
A couple $100. That's why
Jeez.
my dad, he built the mariachi group from the ground up here. Everyone's local.
Wow.
That he met here, and that was the main source of income. But obviously, he needed more taxable proof of income, right? Which was the fields.
And your dad's name?
Antonio.
Shout out Antonio.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your parent. You got your parents. Your dad's Antonio,
Mom, Norma.
and
Yeah.
then how many siblings?
2 siblings, 2 sisters.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're doing that to provide for you and your 2 siblings. What was life for you guys at a young age in Sunnyside?
Honestly, man, it was good. My dad was a hard worker. I remember days when they would be in the asparagus. They would wake me up at 2 a.m. I'd sleep in the car. So when school time came, I'd just change in the car and go to work so they can keep working. So it wasn't hard. I'm really grateful for it. They always provided for us. They did what they could. And they're the reason I'm here today. They're the reason my family's here. My sisters are here because of the work that they put in early on. You know, and he taught me a lot of stuff when it comes to income and financial.
How did that shape you to the person you are today?
Oh, it definitely shaped me because I noticed what hard work is. I realized what it is to actually work hard and to only make pennies. And it made me realize I don't want to live that life, right? I'm grateful for them, but I know I can do more, and I want to provide more for my family, my parents, my sisters, you know, and just my family to come as I grow older. So it made me realize pretty much that you don't always have to work hard. You just have to work smarter, right? But they taught me that hard work. So I knew that worst case, I got that grind in me, you know?
That's one thing I do notice about you, Osman. When I first met you, you always been like a natural hustler. I think when we first jumped on a recruiting call, you're like on the go. I think Antonio put us on the throughway call.
Yeah.
And I remember like talking to you, but you're like, dude, I'm in a rush right now. Like, hey, shoot it to me straight. I got some things that I'm doing. What are some things that you saw your dad do or your parents do at a young age to go hustle? And how did that translate into the mentality you have right now as a hustler?
My dad, man, he would hustle every day. Like, I would see him get up, go to the fields at 4 a.m., come back home, be home by 2, 3 in the afternoon. He'd have a gig. He'd just eat, shower, change, go play till, 11 at night, come back and do it again on the weekends. So he always was looking for ways to make money. He never stopped. Like, if he had one job, he'd work at one field and go to the next field the next couple hours, right? Until eventually, he was able to get a piece of land, and now he was managing his own little field, and, we were selling to restaurants here locally, fruits, vegetables, and I would do the same thing with him.
So you guys are from Jalisco, Mexico, being part of the Hispanic culture. How has that been an impact on you and your family, and has that been something that you guys had, I guess, going into, because typically the workforce is in Lower Valley is you're working for the field. What else is like the job force like in the
Mainly fields. It's the biggest thing. We're surrounded by fields.
So humble beginnings. So when you guys grew up in Sunnyside, what's living situation looking like?
Honestly, dude, it was good based off my parents.
Okay.
What I seen is I lived a pretty, I wouldn't say like a crazy
Food on the table?
high-end food on the table. I was able to go to school. I was able to work and see my parents enjoy life, have family gatherings. Like, it wasn't just work. Like, we were able to live what it is like a Hispanic life, where you get together with families, everyone does their work, but you can still enjoy time overall.
Heck yeah. And I think that's one of the coolest things about your story, and that's what I want to share with a lot of the listeners. So 14, you finally get a little bit of a paycheck for doing mariachi, right? What was the moment for you that you decided, like, okay, see my parents go hustle every single day, I got to go do this for myself? When was that aha moment that you figured out, all right, Osman's got to put the big boy pants on and go do this?
Honestly, it was probably when I was about 19, 20 years old,
19.
right? I played in the mariachi till about like 22 is when I got out. So I was playing the mariachi, obviously went to high school, college. I started working at Dutch Bros. I was doing Dutch Bros and mariachi.
I didn't know that.
I worked there for like 6 months. But the biggest thing was I realized, like, dude, like, I'm not going anywhere with this. I need to do something to get myself ahead and build towards my future. I started getting into like stocks and stuff, learning like trading, lost thousands of dollars in that, But it made me realize that there's more potential out there. There's more ways to make money and grow and develop my skills. And then I got presented with the opportunity of sales. And that's where everything changed for me.
We're going to talk about that. So what were like your biggest influences in life and business growing up?
Growing up was mainly my dad. There wasn't a lot of people that I knew or that were in my family that were business owners. It was more just working, part of the workforce. So it was just more the hustle that I seen in my dad. And then as I got into sales, that's when I started meeting more, entrepreneurs, business owners, people at a higher level, making more money, where I can say, hey, I got to pick this person's brain and grow.
So Dad, Pops gave you a lot of game. What's some of the game he gave you at a young age, especially when it came to business?
One of the biggest lessons that I learned, even though I was hard-headed at first, was to save money and invest it. He always taught me, always have money set aside in case the opportunity comes to invest it or to do something with it to where you can grow and get to that next level. He embedded in me, and it was hard for me to learn the first 4 or 5 years. I mean, I made money. I liked to spend it, right? I was in high school, felt good making money. But, that's one thing that he did teach me that I should have done a little better of, was saving money for when opportunities came. I could invest that money and put myself ahead.
Big time. What age did you get into sales? What was your introduction into business and sales?
My first sales job was actually at a car dealership here in the Tri-Cities. So I was a car salesman for like 6 months. Honestly, didn't do the
What
best.
kind of cars were you selling?
Just normal economy cars,
Okay.
some luxury cars, but that was my first actual sales job. But I just kind of got thrown into the water. I didn't know what I was doing. I kind of just like learned as I went. So that was my first sales job, was car sales for about 6 months.
What drew you into it?
Honestly, I just wanted to try sales. I love cars, right? I've always been a car guy. So I was, let me just try this out. I've known the owner of the dealership too for a couple years. He's known my family. So I decided to take a shot at it. And yeah, that's where I started in sales, was in cars.
So you go 6 months into the car realm, and we both know car sales is not as easy as it
Oh,
looks.
no.
Because, I mean, I've never worked at a car lot, but you're typically just waiting for someone to just come on a lot, right?
9 to 10 hours a day.
How much money did you make in that 6 months?
I think I made maybe like 2,000 a month.
2000.
This was it was right after I graduated high school, so it was college. It was, 2019, right before
How
college.
many hours were you putting in?
Like 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. I was still doing mariachi on the weekends.
You're doing mariachi on the weekends and you're doing
Yeah.
9 hours, so you're doing what, 40, 50 hours a week on the car lot, and you're only
Yeah.
making $2,000?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you go 6 months. You go 6 months doing that. What was your next job after that?
After that, I actually got into PR sales, public relations. Good friend of
that?
mine here in Tri City. So pretty much like kind of like marketing.
Okay.
You help people get on like Forbes, Entrepreneur, all this stuff. And he actually taught me a little bit more about sales. Like he made me go through a course. I actually had to like have a one-on-one call with him on what I learned on the course. And I was competing with like 20 other people that wanted the spot. So I put my mind, I was like, I'm not gonna lose. I'm not gonna lose. And yeah, like compared to 20 other people that were older than me, and at that time I was what, 19? I was
Sheesh.
competing with people that were 25, 30 wanting this position, and he ended up giving it to me.
And so, what got you into solar?
Solar was actually a good friend of mine that he's been in solar for a while now.
Yeah.
Long story short, I was at the gym and he was there and he shows me like, oh dude, look, I made $4,000 in one day on a sale. And I was like, how? He's like, oh, knocking doors. I was like, I set this appointment, they closed it, made $4,000. And I was like, dude, if he can do this, why can't I? Like, with all due respect, I was like, but if he can do it, there's no way I can't do this, right? So I had him connect me with the manager of the company, and I couldn't get him to sit. It was like 3 weeks back and forth. Hey man, I'd love to sit with you, like for
Just
the
dodging you,
opportunity.
huh?
Yeah, yeah. And so finally, they gave me a call, and the first thing he says, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to knock doors? Why do you want to do this and potentially have no money? Like right away off the bat, I was like, because I know I can do it.
Huh.
He just kept testing me, like trying to break me to make me not want to do it, but that made me want to do it more.
Gotcha. And that's crazy because when most people think about door to door, right, they typically have the negative perspective of it, of like, is that a real job?
Yeah.
It's commission based. Like, how you're gonna get paid? How can you trust these people? For you, none of that crossed your mind.
No, so here's the thing, and you see that all the time on social media. They like slam on the idea of door to door commission only, but it's like it's all a mindset thing. You have to have the mindset. You have to have the confidence and the belief that you can make it happen, because it is commission. You're not gonna make money by just going out there and winging it, trying to see what you can do. Like, you have to have the mindset. You have to have the belief. You have to know what you're doing in order to make it happen.
So what was the learning curve? I mean, so he hits you back 3 weeks. He's like, why do you want to do this? And you're like, well, I seen someone make $4,000, so I'm doing $2,000 working 50 hours.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. What was the biggest learning curve for you coming into solar?
Honestly, the biggest learning curve was just the psychology of it and talking to people,
Okay.
and just building that strength of taking no.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I want to get high level with this, because that's one of the things, is you're a high level closer. Psychology. What is the biggest barriers that you're having to face when you're going and sitting down with prospects and overcoming their objections?
The biggest thing you have to face psychologic wise, for me, would be just having the homeowner open up, building that trust with them, and letting them know that you're there to help them. You're not there to just sell them, right? I feel like that's the biggest thing. Like, people buy off of people they like, right? So if they have that trust in you and they like what you're doing and they like you, they're gonna go ahead and move forward with you.
Okay, so every door-to-door person always has that first customer. You get into solar. You still remember that first customer you closed?
Oh yeah, I was so happy. As a door knocker, it was insane. Like, I was
What's
driving.
the story? Tell us the story.
I was literally so I was already in solar for a month, made zero money. I started with a good friend of mine. He already made money like 2 weeks in. But so I started solar and I had to leave for a mariachi gig that was in California for a week and a half. So I only knocked for a week. Had to tell him, hey, I have to take a week and a half off. My buddy got his first sale, made $3,000. I was like, damn, I'll be here in California for 4 days to make $800.
Crazy.
So I came back, didn't make no money for like about a month. I was driving a hood actually here in Richland, and I just get the notification, boom, sell, and I seen that I got mentioned. Dude, it was such a rush knowing I made literally it was $4,000 on my first sale.
No way.
So it felt so good, and it just woke up my eyes like, dude, like I got to take advantage of this opportunity.
And then from there, you just dialed in.
Oh yeah, dialed in, dude. Like my days, I was still in the mariachi for the first year I was in solar. I would literally wake up, come knock doors like on the weekends. I would bring my mariachi suit in my car. I'd come, knock from like 10 a.m. to like 1, change into my suit, go play at a wedding, whatever, from 1 to 7. Come back, change into my shorts, my polo, and go out and knock again for another hour and a half. Because I knew that the potential was there, and I knew that I could make it happen.
Dial process, as you're talking about, what does a dial process look like for you on a day-to-day basis when it comes to sales?
Repetition is the name of the game, honestly. Like I want to keep repeating my sales script, my skills, my objection handling, all of that stuff, because I have to embed it in myself. So when I actually get, presented these opportunities or presented these objections, I'm prepared, right? So I feel like when it comes on a day-to-day basis is talking to people is the biggest thing, right? Continue to talk to new people, new appointments, new families, new clients. It just keeps that repetitive process growing. You stay on that flow, that momentum, right? Because once you have that flow going, you got to keep it going.
Yeah, sales is all about momentum.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I see with a lot of new reps that come into the solar industry is they just think it's just going to happen like that, which we know it's not going to happen. What are some things that you did early on in your career to get better? Because part of that is you got to be tracking. You got to figure out, okay, where's my conversions? How am I getting better? If I'm talking to X amount of people, how many people are actually converting and how many people are falling off? Like for you, what was your process when it came to conversions?
Honestly, I think you just named it, was tracking your stats, and also learning, like always be on the road, learning. Like I would listen to podcasts. I would read a lot of books, right? Like psychological books, more in like the art of selling, mastering the art of selling, all that stuff. It's just always wanting to learn and adapt, because sales is a game that you can always learn more. There's not a limit to how much you can learn in sales. There's always new things you can learn. There's always ways to strengthen your skills and develop them so you can become a better closer, a better salesperson, and obviously, grow your income as well and help more people along the way.
So my question to you, Osman, is why are conversions the livelihood of any business?
That's what helps it grow at the end of the day. Conversions, like if you're not converting, then you gotta find out what's going on with your business, right? Conversions is the biggest thing, because that's how you know where you're at, where you're headed, and what you need to do to get to that next level. Like if you have a certain amount of people you're talking to and only 20% are converting, you're missing out on a whole 80%.
Yeah.
What's causing you to miss out on that 80%? Now you have to dial that down, reduce that 80% down to 40. Now you have a 60% conversion.
And that's one of the things that I love working with you, Osman, because when we have our one-on-ones, you sit down and you talk about, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. I got to do X, Y, Z, and this is the time I got to go do it. And every single time you find a way to go figure it out and get it done. And you have, you got other things you're working on, but you still make it a priority. So just hearing that you did Mariachi and then doing this, like you can put a lot on your plate. I think another thing I want to touch on, especially for our listeners, is retention. I think retention is a big thing in business. That's like the secret weapon, right? If you can get all the conversions you want, but if they're not retaining, right, you're not getting paid.
Fake sales.
Talk about that. Like, what's your biggest focus when it comes to retention, and why is that really important to you?
It's important because I don't like false hope, right? I don't like believing that I got to sell and it's not going to go all the way through, so it's fake money, right? Until it hits your account, it's fake money. That's how I see it. So the way I try to, the way I keep my retention so high is because I build enough value and I let the client know that I'm there for them. Because at the end of the day, the more you chase money, the faster it runs, right? You got to be able to focus on just building value with the people that you're talking to. The money will come. Focus on helping the people that you're there with, and the rest will come with it. So I just focused on building value with the people that I'm talking to, letting them know that I'm there for them, and also letting them know that I'm going to be there along the whole process as well, so they don't feel like they're alone, right?
What's the process look like? Because it's not solar. It could be like a realtor. It could be any type of sales profession. Yeah. What's the process that you typically have in setting communication for someone that you're actually like closing?
After it's all done in deal,
let's say you close the deal. I think this is some game that people can like take away, especially if they're struggling retention wise. What are some things that you do to, number one, initiate the sale, but then also making sure that they don't cancel?
Yeah. So I make them realize, hey, like it's a done deal now. Like we're moving forward. First off, I'm not gonna waste my time or your time. No, there's no time to think about it. We're good. Yeah. Yeah, but After that, I communicate with everyone, no matter what type of sales I'm doing, because obviously there's multiple. I communicate with them within the next 48 hours, and then I always keep that line of communication every week, giving them updates, right? Because they want to, like, you got to think as a consumer, they feel iffy, they feel skeptical, they don't hear from you from 2 weeks, they don't know what's going on, especially if it's something they're not familiar with. So you have to just build that trust and let them know, hey, I'm here with you. Here's the update. Here it is. Here it is. We're almost right to the finish line. Congrats, you made it, right? And then building that trust with them, because sales referrals is a big thing.
Yeah, constant communication. I think that's one of the things you're really great at is referrals. What do you do when it comes to a customer wanting to cancel? How do you handle those?
Honestly, I've learned I'll drive to them. I'll meet them in person, no matter where it is, right? Like, if they want to cancel, it's because of, mainly I think of as one of two things. Maybe the money side of it, they can't afford it, right? We just did a really good job of closing them. Or two is they don't have enough information, right? They don't feel confident in the decision they're making. So my job is to show up, talk to them, see what's going on, why they want to cancel, what information are they missing to make this decision feel good, right? I always tell everyone the last thing I want is for you to lose sleep over this, right? So meet them in person, find out what's going on, find that pain point that's hurting them, that's making them feel skeptical or indecisive, and just let them know, hey, it's totally fine to feel that, right? There's a lot of people in your shoes, we have a lot of people in the same situation. Here's what they've been able to see after doing the process, and here's how we can do this for you.
So, we see a lot of sales reps in general, close a lot of deals, but they just can't retain them. For you, Osman, what separates a rep that can keep deals to a rep that loses deals?
A rep that sells honestly, a rep that builds confidence, builds value, and stays in communication. Communication, I feel like, is the biggest thing, right? Because if you know that you're not providing them something that's going to help them, you're not going to want to reach out. You're going to feel like, oh, I don't want to call them. What if they cancel?
Yeah.
It's like you can't have that type of feeling. You have to be confident in what you're doing, knowing that you're helping them. Because sometimes they will hit you with like, hey, I have a question about this. But if you're confident that you know that you're helping them and you know the answer to that question, they're going to feel good, right? If you feel uneven, they're going to feel uneven. That's how it is, right?
The mirror aspect of it.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think with your success coming in last year, I think you've had one of your PRs, especially in the solar industry, which is pretty cool to just witness firsthand. I had fun just sitting back front row seat and eating popcorn. Like, man, this guy's retention 80+%. He's walking the stage, wearing cowboy. You're getting awards. It's a pretty cool feeling. Your girl's there to witness it, and then
awesome.
just to see those things. For you, as all good as that sounds, there was definitely some hard times last year, right?
Yeah.
What do you think was the hardest part of the season last year, especially going through the industry and being able to weather through it last year? Because last year a lot went on. For you, how did you handle it?
Honestly, man, it's one thing is just having that positive mentality, but also having a good mentor. Like, having you there as well helped me gain that peace of mind that, like, hey, like, if you're okay, if you say everything's good and you don't show any signs of stress, then I know we're good. The same thing with homeowners. Like, if you show stress, they're gonna see it and they're gonna get stressed out, right? So it's like knowing that you were like, dude, we're good. It made me feel like, okay, if he says we're good, right? He's an expert in this, then I know we're good.
What was one of those times? Because there was times last year like, we gonna lose Osman.
Yeah. There was when we lost a couple banks, when
a lot of the banks
tax credit was going away.
Tax credits going away.
Yeah.
That kind of shook you a little bit.
Oh yeah, because I had 10 jobs saying, hey, we're not gonna fund them. I'm like, dude, what am I gonna do? That's 10 jobs. That's not a couple grand. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
I can't lose these jobs, and just fighting through it and realizing there's other ways around it. Like if you're a dog, you're gonna make it happen at the end of the day.
And I think that's one of the things that comes back to the mentality of just understanding resilience. You embodied that last year, and just understanding that, hey, my goals are this. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm stay the course. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
You can be straight up with me, but did you ever feel like quitting last year? And what kept you going?
Yeah, I did feel like quitting. At that time when all the bank stuff happened, I thought it was the end of the world in regards to solar. And I was like, you know what? Like, it's not going to work out. I need to figure something out, And that's the worst thing I could have done, because I started pivoting, started focusing my mindset on other things, and my production dropped, right? But I realized, like, we're good. We're the best in the game. We know what we do. We know what we provide. It's just time to pivot, right? That's how every business is. Nothing's ever going to be sunshine and rainbows, especially in business. You got to figure out and learn to pivot, because, like I said, there's going to be ups and downs.
And I think it's not pivot. You got to definitely pivot, but you just got to go put in the work.
Exactly.
Action kills anxiety. And so the more and more you sit around and you analyze, analysis paralysis. You
Yeah.
tend to just analyze and then you just paralyze yourself. I've just learned that if you just keep working, put one foot in front of the other, things just figure itself out.
Yep. Action.
Um, what's what have you had to sacrifice that people don't see on the outside?
A lot of time, a lot of freedom. In regards to like things that weren't benefiting me, right?
Okay.
Like not going out on the weekends, not spending money where I didn't need to spend it, family time sometimes because I had to run leads, got to make money. So I feel like them are some of the things that you had to sacrifice, and it's just like people don't see that on the outside, right? They just see, oh, he's making this much money, he's tearing it up.
Social media.
But social media, the way social media works is the way I see it, and I learned this when I did PR, is if you can control what they see, you can control what they think. So I only let people on social media see what I want them to see, right? They don't know what I'm doing on the back end. They don't know where I'm at, when I'm at. They don't know where I'm at, what time I'm there, or any of that, because I control what I want them to see, right? They don't see the work we put in, the hours, the driving we have to do, you know, hour this way, an hour this way to help clients, all the back end stuff, because that's just stuff that we have to do. It's part of the business, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people when they see guys making the type of income, I mean, you've had 50,000 plus months, which is you look at like what people make in a year, you're able to go clear that in a month.
It's a
Be honest with
blessing.
me, but what's some of the mistakes you've made that you had to learn from, especially in the sales game?
A couple mistakes I've made, honestly, is not leveraging that money, is spending it, and thinking that it's gonna keep coming, thinking that's it's all gonna be constant, but that's not. Sales game is like, you have a good month, you get complacent, next month drops. It's happened to me all the time, right? It's just knowing that like once you have that momentum, as much as you want to relax, celebrate, you have to keep going because the momentum can drop, and when it drops, it's 10 times harder to get that momentum back up than if you're already there and you can just keep it going.
Takes a lot to get that snowball effect. You got to
Exactly,
keep
yeah.
pushing, pushing, pushing. So I want you to give some game to the culture, man. You're Hispanic. What would you give to, especially the Latin community? I think in that community, work ethic is everything, right?
100%.
And that's one of the things that I think that's what my culture is the same way. We don't come from much. We come from humble beginnings. You just got to go figure it out. But for you, what game would you give to someone that's starting out at ground zero, and what advice would you give them as they are probably looking into getting into business or sales?
The biggest thing I would say is just have that consistency. Consistency is key. People say it all the time. Might sound annoying, but it really is the name of the game is consistency. Like, if you want to do something and you're starting from ground zero, like you have to push, right? Like if you have a 9 to 5, you're working a normal job, but you want to start your own business, use those after hours to start building that business, right? Action is the biggest thing, like you said it too, right? Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Like you think about it too much, nothing's gonna get done. Thinking about it doesn't do anything, right? Taking action, like there's a saying that says, "Don't bite off more than you can chew."
Yeah, I see that a lot.
I see bite off more than you can chew and figure out how to chew it on the way. Like just figure it out. At the end of the day, that's when you'll know like how much you can push yourself, your mentality to get to that next level.
What does success mean to you, and define it?
Success to me is financial and time freedom.
Because you've had the money, you've seen the money, you've seen those deposits, the cars, the lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
But having all that and being able to actually physically touch it, right, compared to back in the days you dreamt about some of these things, what does that mean for you now in this stage of your career?
Honestly, and it's crazy because like people ask me, how do you feel now that you got your supercar, your dream car? Honestly, like I'm blessed. I'm grateful for it. But for me, it was just like a stepping stone. I knew in my mind a while before that I was gonna have that car, so I already envisioned myself, manifested me
When was
feeling
this?
it,
When was
driving.
this? And when did you know you were gonna go get your dream car? Supercar?
Probably about like 2 years ago.
Okay.
I had pictures of it. Like I would, when I would manifest, meditate, I would imagine myself driving it, the feeling of it. So when I got the car, it was just like, I did it. What's next?
So
Not in
you had a
car wise,
picture,
but
you had
like,
a picture of an Audi R8.
yeah, oh, yeah, wallpaper, had it in my room, like everything. I even have a video actually of me saying that I'm gonna be driving one in the next year.
So if you could go back to 18, 19-year-old Osman, what would you tell yourself?
To keep going.
Okay.
To keep going. Honestly, like I wouldn't change anything about my past because I'm grateful for where I am now, and I would just tell him like, hey, like you're on the right path. Kill that doubt because the doubt's what's gonna stop you.
And I think this is something I want to jump into a bit when it comes to, the mindset is obviously about consistency. anyone can do it once, but what makes you great and elite is if you can do it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You get the success, you start seeing the wins, but then you got some haters. Let's talk about that for a second. Have you noticed that?
Oh
Have you dealt
yeah.
with that, especially because you get a lot of people that, man, this guy has the cars, this guy's doing the things that I wish I can go do, and then you start you think people would be happy for you, but then you start seeing they're like, man, I thought this guy was
You start hearing stuff.
hearing stuff. For
Yeah.
you, what was that like, and how did you deal with it? Probably still
Honestly,
are.
yeah. I just ignore it. I wish them the best, dude. Like, there's a saying, like, if you don't have haters, you're not doing something right. Like, people want to see you doing good, but they don't want to see you doing better than them. And you realize that as you level up, you'll see what people in your life are truly happy for you, and which ones aren't. Right? Like when I got my supercar, there was a lot of friends that I thought would be happy for me, never received a text from them. And from then it's been just kind of silence.
Really?
Right? And it's like, dude, like me as a person, I could never hate on someone doing better than me. And you've seen it. Like,
Oh.
I like to pick people's brain. If you're doing better than me, how can I learn from you?
Yeah.
What can I do to develop my skill or the skill that you have embedded into me so that I can learn and go to the next level? Right? It's just, for me, that people that hate, it's just like, I really just hope they can get over that, because it's like, it's not going to affect me in any
It
way.
means you're doing something right. That's
Exactly.
what they say, right?
Exactly.
Who's someone that counted you out on your upcome and your grind, and how did that feel you?
Like that forgot about me or something?
Yeah, there's always that person. For me, I'll share my story. I got into the game straight out of basketball. Want to go
yeah.
play pro ball, and I didn't necessarily fit the description of what a solar salesman looks like, especially because I come from LA and I'm surrounded by a bunch of Provo, Utah guys that are typically blonde hair, blue eyes, and they see me. I'm 6'5", 6'6", and this guy's like, "You're not doing this." And I just remember, hearing hearing the chatter and like, "Oh, this guy probably won't last longer than 2 weeks." But I remember for me, it was just I woke up every single day with this like kill list. Like, was that like Kobe? Like, okay, who's the top guy? Let me look at this leaderboard, and I'm going at you every single day. For you, has that ever happened?
I'd say in two scenarios. One is just hearing outside noise of people saying, "Oh, what does this kid think? Who does he think he is? Why is he doing this? He's not going to do anything. He's from the valley. He's just another kid with fake dreams, or like just huge dreams. Is not going to do nothing." And for me, it was like, okay, watch me do it. Watch me do these things, and you're just going to watch from the sidelines as I do these things and I accomplish these things. And not as like a I'm better than you way, more of like I know I can do this, and I'm going to prove to you that I can do it, just to show you that it's possible.
You ever heard of the crap in the bucket
Yep.
mentality?
Pulling down.
Did you feel like that was a big thing where you grew up?
100%. And it was like, and it's not even more like of a negative thing. It's because the people I was around, they didn't know better. They didn't know anything different, right? My parents didn't know anything different. When I got into sales, they were like, "Are you sure?" Like one of the funniest things, my dad would always ask me, "Are you sure you're making money? Like, are you doing good? Are you okay? Are you actually making money?" Like he would ask me that like every 2 weeks, and it got to a point where like it'd be my fuel. It'd be like, "Dude, yes," like but I can't say yes. I have to go and do it and show him, So that was probably one of my biggest fuels coming from my dad, because I love him and I want to make him proud. So hearing like from him and other people in my family or like close friends, like, "What is he doing? Are you making money? You're knocking on people's doors. Like, sales? What is that?"
What are you doing? I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy, Osman, is my mom, she thought I was nuts. She wanted me to take over my dad's trucking business, and my brother's doing Bitcoin at the time, and I'm doing trucking business at the time. And I'm working literally, dude, like 6 a.m. to midnight, and I'm
Damn.
getting paid like $300. And opportunity comes in my lap, like, hey, you can go make, like you said, $4,000. I tell my mom that, and she's like, and my dad's like, dumbest decision you could ever go make. And then here's what's crazy. I go make 6 figures in my first month. And I remember they're like, "Are you okay? You're doing okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing good." And I remember just hitting up my sister on my birthday, hitting up my mom and my dad, and I tell them, "Hey, open up your email." And they opened it up, and it's plane tickets. I flew them all out to the Bay. I was actually working in Stockton, California.
Nice.
Rented out an Airbnb. I think I spent like 10 grand, but it felt great. And I think that's one of the things when you look at not proving to people, but it's just understanding that it's fuel. It's fuel to the fire.
It's fuel. Yep, 100%.
When did the fear of other people's opinions start going away for you? Where you just stop giving a
Yeah, where I just stopped giving a damn, honestly, was realizing that they weren't gonna do nothing for me. Like these opinions aren't gonna affect me. They're not gonna better my life. They're not gonna do anything specifically to help me grow. So it's like, why am I paying attention to these people? Why am I even taking time out of my day to acknowledge these comments and acknowledge what they're saying? You know, at the end of the day, all it is just fuel for me. So it's like, and that's one of the things that a lot of people I feel like they struggle with is they care too much about what other people think. If you care too much about what people think, you're never gonna get anywhere because you always have that little voice in the back of your head holding you back.
Yeah.
Oh, what does this person think? Or what does this person think?
it's the
Dude,
what if.
yeah, screw that. It's like, do it now.
It's when
It's
I do
when.
this.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So I think what's pretty cool about your story, and that's one of the things I wanted to get you on this pod is just to share. But you've had a dominant year. Sales, commissions, you've done a phenomenal job investing your money, making sure as fast as it comes in, it's just as important to making sure you keep it. And then you're also working on some other things that are, okay, how do I grow my money? I think that's the name of the game, right? It's, okay, let me go figure out how to make money. That's a skill set. The second skill set is, okay, how do I go invest it? Because if I spend it all, what do you got to go do?
Make it
You
again.
got to go make it again. Now it's, okay, how do I make my money work for you? You've transitioned into getting into credit. You know, what value did you see in that industry, and why did you feel like it was important to go provide service in the industry?
Honestly, you know, my business partner in it, he started it, and realistically, it started with me. I just, you know, had a couple stuffs on my credit I wanted to get removed, like simple things. And I was like,
What did you have in your credit?
I just had hard inquiries, literally,
Okay.
like a ton of hard inquiries. I was like, let's get these removed. Let's see what, you know, what you can do, right? And then obviously I had like a family member that had like bad credit, like 400s, right? And I was like, okay, let's get them on board. Let's see how you do this, how we can make this work. And I started to realize, like, dang, like 400 to 600 in 90 days. People like usually deal with their credit for the rest of their lives, you know,
Yeah.
not being able to get anything. I was like, dude, we can provide value in this. Like, we can help people. Most importantly, give people a second opportunity at credit,
Yeah.
right? And from there on, just started promoting it.
What are some things that cause a person's credit to go down to freaking 400?
A lot of things. I mean, the main things are collections, late payments, repos, any derogatory marks on their credit, right? Because history makes up 40% of your report. So if that 40% is negative because you had one late payment, can drop your credit over 100 points.
Really?
Collection can drop your credit 150 points, right? So it's like, it's crazy because you can be on time, you can have great credit for 7 years. One little mistake, one little life choice, you completely just goes to the ground.
And I think that's one of the things when people start seeing, because your credit is your credibility. Because people just want to know, like, is this person a consumer that can actually follow through with their payments?
Can we trust them?
In my opinion, I think there's a lack of education when it comes to it on
Oh, yeah.
understanding, number one,
100%.
like, hey, what's your credit utilization, right? I think that's one of the things I'm talking to reps right now is like, hey, if you're living off principle, you're living in a dangerous place because you're living pretty much paycheck to paycheck. And we all know, like, when you see that account start going up from 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, naturally you're just like, oh, let me just spend out of it. But credit, in my opinion, I've actually changed my mindset. It's like, it's actually great if you understand how to utilize it.
Yeah, credit is king if you know how to utilize it.
What's some of the things, some game that you would recommend to people that are maybe they effed up their credit? Their credit's not that great. Like, what are some things that they need to be focusing on to get it back up?
The biggest thing, if they messed up their credit, is fixing it.
18-year-olds, like you got a lot of 18-year-olds. I mean,
Oh, starting fresh with credit?
starting fresh,
Yeah.
brand new.
Yeah.
What advice you got?
The best thing you can do is go get a credit card with whatever bank you have an account with, right? If you have all your savings in Hoppo or any local bank, pull out a credit card from there so you can start building that trust.
What do they typically approve you
Like
for?
$500, $500 to $1,000, right? Authorized users. If your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother has, you know, a seasoned credit card that has good age, on-time payments, it's a perfect credit card, have them add you as an authorized user because now you get that history on your file now. So what does it look like? We had an 18-year-old, his brother added him to his card. So at 18, he had a 4-year credit history, on-time payments, everything a 750, was able to get a brand new car for literally no money down
So
at
you're
18
just
years
saying,
old.
just being able to jump on someone else's credit history can give you.
That credibility. Yeah, it strengthens your file, and that's what banks want to see. They want to see history, a strong profile, and obviously no negative history, no derogatory marks.
Yeah. What would be some of the strategies when it comes to getting more funding? Like, let's say, for instance, you said $500, right, for a first one. What's the hack when it comes to getting approved for more on credit lines?
One, income, but two is keeping using that credit card and keeping under 30% utilization, right? If your limit's 500, you're using $200, pay that off every 2 weeks. The banks like to see, hey, we can trust this person with this amount. If he applies again, we can trust them with more now, right? So they just want to see that they can trust you. And as you build that trust, they start giving you more and more and more. Soon enough, you'll be at a 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 credit card, right? Because you've built that trust.
But I think one of the things about credit, it's a mentality, but credit can be dangerous
Oh, yeah.
because
Very dangerous.
when you get in that habit of just swipe, 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 swipe,
Yeah.
you can accumulate a lot of debt. What are some of the things? Is that what you're recommending? Is if you are going to spend it, pay it off as quickly as possible?
Yeah, 100%.
Because I see people, they drown themselves
Yeah,
in a lot of debt,
and that's the scary side. Is some people they don't watch that side of things, and it can you can go into a deep hole.
And when you look at goals, right? You look at, okay, if I'm really trying to go grow my actual income, they're playing the leverage game. Like, okay, maybe make my money, and then I'm gonna go pay off my credit. What about someone that's actually, I don't know, mid 40s, mid 30s right now, and they had a repo or bankruptcy? What are some strategies there?
The first thing would be to get it removed because these items stay on your credit. They're designed to stay for 7 to 10 years. So you can be on time after having a repo. You can say, oh, I'm on time for the next 5 years. It's still going to hold your credit back because of negative history. Think of it as like a brick wall. So you can be on time, but if you have that repo holding you back, you're never going to be able to pass that 600 credit score or 650. And the banks, all they're going to see is, hey, you weren't able to make payments on time based off your history. We can't trust you, so we're not going to approve you. Or we're going to give you an insanely high interest rate, which of course nobody likes.
Yeah.
So it's first things first is taking care of that negative history, remove that, so now you have a clean file and you can build off a clean file.
And then obviously we're solar, but what about someone that's looking to get solar and they need their credit up? They're dealing with like a 600. What are some of the things that typically like most homeowners have to go through if they want to get their credit up?
It depends where they're at. If they're like right under our threshold, sometimes just like a simple credit boost, paying off a couple cards. Like I think we had someone that had like high utilization. I was like, look, you're literally right under our threshold. Pay some of this off, lower that utilization. We can get you approved in like 2-3 weeks, right? Soon enough, they did that, came back, got them approved. So sometimes typically if you're above a 600, like 600, 650, it's some minor stuff that you can just do, like paying off your cards, right? Getting maybe some hard inquiries removed, and you can get to that level to get approved for the things you want.
So what advice would you give to someone right now that's looking to, number one, level up their sales game, but then also level up their credibility in the sales game, because it goes hand in hand?
To level up your sales skills, the biggest thing I'd say is create more opportunities for yourself, right?
Not all about making money. It's about how do I go grow it.
Exactly, yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is network. Build your network, because that's how you'll be able to have more opportunities, not only to invest your money, but also to make more money, right? When you network with someone and you provide value to them, you can provide a service to them. And now that's another form of income that you have. Leverage the credit, right? If you're already going to spend this money anywhere, at the store, gas station, leverage the bank's money and get rewarded for it. There's bonus points, there's rewards, all this stuff. So now you're getting some money back, right? But obviously, level up your income so that you can be able to do that, right? Because you said if you drown yourself in credit and you're not growing your income, you're not going to go anywhere, brother.
Yeah, they're going to call you. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
hey, man, I got $50,000
They're gonna call me.
in debt right now. I only make like $25 an hour.
Yeah,
Right?
no.
So, with that said, huge shout out to you. Give you your flowers, Osman. It's been pretty cool to just sit back and just see your success. I love seeing you win. I love seeing you get your sports car.
Thank you.
I love the success that you have around the people you're hanging around with. You got buddies with a Lambo, and you got you guys are one of the only ones in Tri-Cities with those type of cars. So, in my opinion, it's pretty cool to see. What's the goals for you? What's the long-term goal for you?
Honestly, long-term goal is to build more businesses.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I want to build that. I'd rather invest my money into businesses that'll create me more income. Long-term goal is 5 businesses by 30. Have my wife retired, my family, my parents are no longer working. And if they are working, it's for me. Because I've been able to provide for them and give them an opportunity, and mainly time freedom. Time freedom is the main thing I'm after right now. It's no longer the money.
Why is that?
Time's the one thing we can't get back, right? I believe this, and I say it all the time. You can make all the money in the world. It's not going to bring back time, right? Time and location freedom, I feel like it's, now that I've been able to make, somewhat of good money, right? Not insane amount. I realize, okay, I have the skill to make money. Now, how can I use this to gain more of my time back, right? I mean, I know I'm 24 years old, but the sooner I can learn that
Crazy, you're
skill, and
24, dude. So I'm like, I was 24. Holy crap!
yeah, man, it's like the sooner I can develop that skill and learn time freedom and be able to get to time freedom is like when I know, it's made it.
And what's your biggest whys? What's your biggest whys on why you're doing all this?
Honestly, my parents,
Okay.
seeing them in their 50s now, early 60s, still working, it's like, dude, they don't need to be doing that, right? I want to be able to provide for my family. You want to do this? I got you. You need this? I got
You said one of the most important things for you, the 5 most things you're proud of, is supporting your parents financially.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things you're doing for your parents now that you weren't able to go do years ago?
If they want to go like on a trip or something, like I'll cover it, right? If they want to, my mom wants something, she's getting it, bro. Like whatever I got to do, I'm gonna make it happen, right? My dad needs help, I'll do my best to help him too. Whether it's business wise or funding wise for something he's trying to do, right? Because he likes the cattle game, right? If you need some
You bought him an
investments,
instrument. What instrument did you buy him?
a trumpet. Yeah, I bought it him a few like 2 years ago. It was like one of them that he really wanted, and right now I'm actually focusing on getting him another one it's super hard to find. It's like right under $10,000, but it's hard to find it. So I'm just trying my best. Give it to him for like his I think it's like his 65th birthday coming up.
That's one of the things I just saw my parents last week, and can't take it for granted. They get
Can't.
older and older, and I feel like it's our responsibility making sure we take care of them.
Yeah,
So,
bro. Yeah, exactly.
with that, Osman, I appreciate you jumping on the pod. I'm excited to roll this out to the listeners. Where can people find you or follow you?
Instagram, Osmotion with 2 N's. TikTok, Osmotion. Snapchat, Osmotion. It's all the same thing right there. So follow me there. You guys can learn sales, credit, mentorships, anything you guys need. We're happy to provide the value and help everyone out.
And any final words for the people?
One thing that I've focused on lately and I've said all the time, it's a simple sentence. It isn't easy, but it is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just put one foot after the next. Keep going. You'll figure it out as you go.
Come on. You heard it live and direct. Thanks for tuning in to the Mono Mentality Podcast. We're excited to roll this out. Appreciate it. That was dope.
Hell yeah.